everybody. This is my proud privilege to be able to host this. Today we have our young colleague, Dr. Kishore. I would now request my colleague, Dr. Orpita Dottodas, to introduce Dr. Swain, our speaker today. Orpita.
Thank you, Bipashadi. Very good afternoon to everybody. I express my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vidyut Chakraborty, for his guidance and support for organizing this lecture series. I also thankful to my colleagues, research scholars, students, and all the listeners who are present here as a part of this program. Today, I got the chance to introduce our eminent speaker, Dr. Kishore Chandra Swain, Assistant Professor, the Department of Agricultural Engineering, Polli Shiksha Bhavana, Visva-Bharati. Dr. Swain has joined Visva-Bharati since 2012. Dr. Swain completed his BTech degree in Agricultural Engineering from Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology, Bhubaneswar in 2001. After that, he completed his MTech and PhD degree from Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand in 2003 and 2007. He also pursued his postdoc from Dalhousie University, Canada during 2008 to 2009 and Aarhus University, Denmark during 2009 to 2010. Dr. Swain has published 6 books and nearly 40 journal papers. He has been awarded by Asian Australians Association of Precision Agriculture in 2019 and Indian Society of Agricultural Engineers in 2018. His area of research interest is precision agriculture, sensor technology, and agricultural mechanization, etc. Now, we all are eagerly waiting to hear his interesting lecture. Now, I welcome Dr. Swain to take his dais to deliver the lecture.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, Vipasadi, for this opportunity. Respected Vice Chancellor, sir, and my respected colleagues, dear students, and my staff members, welcome to this lecture. And thank you, the Visva Administration, for offering me this opportunity. Now I am sharing the screen. Is it clear? Madam, screen is coming.
Yes, it's visible, Kishore.
Okay. Today's topic, I will talk about precision agriculture, its status, strategy, and different technology involved with this system.
Kishore, could you please put it on slide, because it's just shows the entire thing. If you could put it on slideshow, then you can. Yes, this is better. Yes, yes.
It's not audible, please.
Yeah, just a second. I put the top screen. Okay. Okay, so talking about precision agriculture, it is something about agriculture which we talk generally we talk about. In precision agriculture, we can tell precision agriculture, we can say it is the application of right amount of crop inputs at right place at a required time. When it is needed, we should apply. It is the one what we are doing like in agriculture, but in a specific manner where we can ensure optimum profit to the farmers, so that we can enhance their profit margin. And this is can be a management strategy where we collect temporal, spatial, and individual data to get better efficiency, better productivity, better quality, and ensure profitability to the farmers in a sustainable manner. If you see the traditional agriculture system, there is we have traditional agriculture in the past where we practice agriculture with the bullocks, and in developed countries they do agriculture with the horses. Then they goes to mechanized agriculture where they start using different machineries. In our case, we start using cultivators, tractors, and power tillers, and in other countries also they start using a combine harvester and different types of plows using tractors. And next stage is coming as precision agriculture, where we start using, we are collecting data, we are analyzing the informations, analyzing the status of the crop. On that basis, we are taking the production decision. Here we have next is we will go for digital agriculture, where we have sensors mounted in the field, and on that sensors we collect the sensors in real time basis the information. On that basis we will take the crop production decisions. And the next is would be automated agriculture, where we will apply drone technology, we apply farm robots which will work driverless, and there will be least control from the farmers. So the farm activities can be more faster and with better efficiency. This stop. Precision agriculture can be explained as reduce input, better management, improve control, and increase efficiency. Here, when we talking about better management, we will talking about get better data through GPS, GIS, remote sensing, or analyze the data through different models, decision support system, artificial intelligence, AHP, and apply those models through VRT, variable rate technology, and some other techniques, which will ensure better profit, ensure the amicable environment, and we should able to maintain the fertility and reduce losses. There is different types of tools, that is we talk about GPS, GIS, remote sensing. We have some in-field sensing, we have GPS guidance, and we have yield monitors. We should manage better data. We go for control sprayers. I will come in details. We go for planters and seeders, that we can apply variable rate technology. There is telemetrics, there is robotics. All this we can incorporate in precision agriculture. Here, any system we are developing, we talk about measurement, we talk about mapping, monitoring, and modeling. So we should collect some data. That data should be used for mapping the inputs. Then on the basis of inputs, we develop a monitoring system to control the applications. And with this monitoring, we can develop a model. Model is like if you look for a system where we have to get maximum profit, then we have to go for model on that way. Or you are targeting maximum profit margin, then you have to decide the inputs. On that basis, the farmers can get maximum profit. Here is one of this tool of precision agriculture, that is GPS, Global Positioning System. Previously, we have GPS receivers where we can get the global latitude, longitude, global location, but now it is very handy. You see iPhones, all the smartphones, or even some small phones which mostly now not used, they have GPS systems which will guide us on the road, guide us to find some places, and those things we can use in agriculture to find better production decision. Even GPS can be used in many sectors, like to help the blind people, and we are using to get driverless driving of farm vehicles, and it has been used in agriculture, industries, transportation, resource mapping. This is not new to us, but still we are able to use in agriculture to get better production. This GPS, I just you may be excited about know how it works. Actually, there is 24 satellites. This is called GPS satellites, and that they make 2 rotations per day. We can see at least 4 satellites. From these 4 satellites, we can get get your position based on the size of earth and based on your projection system. And with this GPS system, even you can improve their accuracy using the systems like differential GPS, article GPS. Because if you see in the mobile phones, when you get better mobile phones, you get better accuracy. Even you go to left side of your road, you can understand that they will say you are going away of your destination. So that accuracy level we can get with better GPS system in mobile phones and even in the farm sector. There is some other systems. This GPS was developed by USA, but now we have some systems developed by Russia, and there is that GLONASS, and we have Galileo system developed by European countries. Even India also developed Gagan system, that is they are working since 2015. ISRO has developed, where we don't have to depend on GPS system or other systems for our for getting our position control. There is another tool of precision agriculture is the GIS software. Like other softwares, Microsoft Word, we have GIS softwares, and it is available in 2 ways. One is commercial type, another is non-commercial type. Commercial types, there is commercial types. There is you have this S3, and we have NV. Those softwares you have to purchase, but we still have some softwares which are available in the free domains like RAS, QGIS, Saga GIS. These softwares used to analyze the data what we have collected to GPS and through field visits. There is major component is another major component is remote sensing of precision agriculture, because the field visit, we have to reduce number of field visit, and farmers also not interested to visualize their farm or visit their farm. So we can use remote sensing for this purpose. Remote sensing is a technology where we don't have to go to the field. We can take the images from the satellites, and here it is based on the spectrum of sunlight, where we have this visible spectrum, which is generally wavelength of 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. And if you go beyond, we have infrared, microwave, short radio wave, long radio waves, and other side we have ultraviolet rays, X-rays, gamma rays, and cosmic rays. We are in agriculture, we are using infrared rays and microwaves. If we have cloud covers that we cannot get good image, even microwaves that can pass through the clouds, that can be used for remote sensing applications during particularly cloud condition. And how it works, we get the sunlight spectrum. That sunlight spectrum is falling on the leaves, and that leaf we get reflected. That reflectance is captured by the satellites. So that capture we will get. We have this like we have different missions, space station. We have the satellites. We have ground stations. The ground stations will get the data from the remote satellites, and those data we have. We develop the maps, and that maps we can give to the tractors, to the farmers, to get to make their production decisions. And remote sensing is helping. If you understand, you can see this image in 1984. There is the green area is the true color image. So green area is the vegetation or green color things, and if you see the reddish color, it is the building areas. And you see in 1984 there is less building, and in 1991 you can see more building. So you can see with this we can exactly find out the different changes, different land use, land cover changes we can map using remote sensing. So it is very helpful. And particularly if you go to agriculture, then we have this images here. You can see this one is called spectral signature. Spectral signature is very unique to all the materials we have. Like particularly, let's say if some place we have a water cover, when the sunlight is falling on this or any spectrum with a wavelength of 0.5 micrometer, that is 500 nanometer to 700 nanometer, you get a reflectance in the range of let's say start with 10, then 12% around, then after 700 nanometer the reflectance value will be 0. Understand? So if you using this spectrum, because if you we have also some questions like how the satellites they use to map the moon surface or map the space resources, that this is the one. Here if you see the vegetation, so at different wavelength you see vegetation has a particularly fixed pattern of growth. Like if it is 1.3 1.4 micrometer wavelength of light is falling on vegetation, then the reflectance value will be around 25%. And then if it is increased, then this value will increase. So similarly in soil, that if the soil or if there is a barren soil and the solar spectrum is falling on this, let's say 0.9, at 0.9 you get around 40% reflectance value. Similarly, like if it is, I was talking about that space research, if some place we put a wavelength of 0.4 to 0.7 micrometer on something, and we see a pattern of reflectance in the range of 10% to, let's say it is going to 12, 15, 13%, again going back to 0, that reflectance if you will get, so we can easily conclude that there is some water is available. As wavelength increase, so if it is 0.9 micrometer, so there will be no scope to find out if it is water or not, because there is no there will be reflectance for water will be 0. Particularly at this wavelength we can know it is water or not. Particularly this wavelength, at different wavelengths we can know whether the pattern is followed, so the soil will be the one that we are looking for. So on this basis we can explore and we can identify which material we are looking at from a satellite. And for agriculture we can use this for let's say for healthy sugar beet. The healthy sugar beet, the pattern is like this, the green color. And if there is some health issues, if there is some we have some problems of water stress or fertilizer or pesticide, then the pattern will change to the red color. You can see, so if you put 600 nanometer or 0.6 micrometer, then if it is healthy, then the reflectance value will coming around 0.8. But if it is not healthy, then it may come out 0.25, or it can be 0.22, or it's something else, because we don't know the stress and the magnitude of stress. If stress is more, then there will be some other pattern. But if it is healthy, then it will be exactly the same as the green. If you are getting a spectral signature, that is called spectral signature. If you get a spectral signature compared to the healthy one, then we can easily tell that the sugar beet is healthy. So we don't have to do much. But if it is not healthy, then we have to take some steps. Whether you apply pesticide or fertilizer, we have to go for further analysis. And remote sensing satellites, generally we have many types of satellites, but particularly for agriculture or vegetation, we talk about spatial resolution. If you want to make large areas, then we should go for low resolution. Like we have desert, how much desert area, how much forest area in India. So we go for Modi's resolution, Modi satellite. And if you have this medium site, if you have medium, the moderate resolutions are there, like Aster and Landsat. This is the Landsat. We have Landsat 7, 8. They will launch Landsat satellite 9, because here is Landsat mostly for agriculture vegetation purpose. We use Landsat, and we are using also IRS, Indian Remote Sensing Satellite. Here you can see we have this blue, green, red. We have this visible spectrum, which is used for vegetation for the green things, and we have near infrared that for vegetation also, that is used to identify the vegetation area. But there is another one is thermal, where we talk about measuring the variation in temperature. For the time being, like if one in agriculture crop, one hidden object is there, so we want to know if there is some animals or something is there. So we take a thermal imaging. So if you take a thermal imaging, we exactly know that there will be variation in temperature. You can see in the figure here that exactly we can see the figure is coming like a rabbit. That means it is hidden inside the cropping area. So that the other areas has uniform temperature. You can see where the rabbit is exist, there is change in temperature. So you can easily identify what is hidden. Similar things like we also use for we can use also very high resolution satellite images, where which we can go up to 1 meter resolution. Particularly sometimes we don't need for the crops, but also it may problem, because if it is 1 meter resolution, then the area covered under this will be less. So to map a large area, we have to add those, which will take lot of time. So we generally go for moderate resolution or high resolution for precision agriculture. When you can go for very high resolution, depending on the which types of crop we are targeting. If it is a cash crop, then we can go for very high resolution. If you are growing some crop commercially, then we can go for that. And this is IRP6 specifications. And to see that as we know that the solar intensity changes throughout the day and season to season, to limit their impact, we generally, instead of using the reflectance values, we go for vegetation index. We go for some ratios, and the most popular is normalized differential vegetation index, where we can use the equation NIR minus R. NIR is near infrared minus red upon NIR plus R. This is the most popular one, and this is the normal image. This is the vegetation index image. So as we make it digital, then we can use this as for analysis digitally. We don't have to see the image, but we can give equations. It will find out which areas is affected, which area is not affected. And we have this other ratios like a simple ratio, soil adjusted ratio, and then many other ratios are there. And we have this Google Earth maps. We know we have Google Earth maps, and we have satellite maps, and this National Agriculture imagery of USA. We have 1 meter images. So all these images nowadays available, we can use for agriculture applications. And now we have this newly added Sentinel data, which is around 10 meter resolution. We can have up to 10 meter resolution, where previously these low resolutions we don't get. and now it is available free of cost by European Union, which will be used for agriculture and particularly for near real-time monitoring. This map we developed for Hubli, West Bengal, and there is some radar sat data which is give you the altitude information or the height of some objects. If you want to identify some height, then we can use that. And as I mentioned before, we have this microwave images which can pass through the clouds, and that is very useful. Sometimes we have this cloud cover, so to monitor the crop, we can use microwave remote sensing. As you know, we have these weather satellites, the weather predictions. So that is also useful for agriculture purpose, that we should know what is the future weather. So with remote sensing, we have a lot of applications in agriculture and also in precision agriculture. And we talk about different equipments we are using in for the precision agriculture. We have GPS receiver, as I discussed already. Then we have different types of sensor that, okay, this crop, if you give the crop inputs, whether they are going to the leaves, whether they are accepted by plant. So using different nano sensors, we can know exactly that this input has reached to the plant and it is used by the plant. And we have this on-the-go soil sensors, where generally in agriculture we generally go for soil testing, which is it take a lot of time for analysis. But using these types of systems, when we are moving within the field, we can we can measure the soil parameters. And with this John Deere, they have this some softwares where they can get all the informations analyzed, and they will provide you the outputs like they want to use and what will be the production decision. And that software itself can do that. You don't you have to give the only the inputs. We have this laser land leveler, which is very useful for enhancing the irrigation efficiency, because generally if you go to any field, you find that the field looks plain, but it is plain from the looking, but there is always some slope is there within the field. So the fertilizer and the nutrients, and water, they generally move from one side to other side, so that the irrigation efficiency is low and there is loss of fertility. So if you use laser land leveler once in couple of years, then you can level your field to millimeter level, so that there will be no slope. We have different sprayers, variolate spraying with ultrasonic sensor. If you use ultrasonic sensor, there you can measure the height of the plant, where we can apply the nutrients based on the presence of the plant. If it is weeds, generally the plant has a certain height at a particular time, but mostly weed will have higher the level. If it is some weeds will be very tall and some weeds will be at the ground level. So that can be used with using couple of ultrasonic sensors, so that you can make a variable spraying, because we don't want to spray on the crops, so that we can avoid. And we have the software I was talking about, and we have talking about the satellites with informations. We have here is we have yield monitors. Yield monitor is a very interesting equipment. If you harvest with combine harvester or any machinery, so it can be installed in the combine harvester. That can give you some maps, similar maps, where you can see there is the areas, green areas, we are getting uniform yield, but in the red areas, we find the yield is not up to the mark. So during the harvesting, you can easily find out which areas has less yield, which areas has more yield. So from those information, we can say that these areas need special attention, and these areas is good, so we don't have to work on that. So on this basis, we can take better production decision, like we should apply more pesticides in the areas where there is more pest areas, or if you can apply more fertilizer, or that those areas we find less yield, we should go that area and give special attention. Here we have now we are working towards getting more sensors for the study of the crop parameters. Here you can see, here we have a sensor study the status, that readings are going to the system, processor, controller is there. Then on the basis of the sensor readings, we can monitor the crop inputs. If it is more pest areas, then you can apply more pesticides. If it is not affected, then you can apply less pesticide. So you can save pesticide, and also you can save the quality of the crop. There is some other, like we have a SPAT 502, we have green seeker to measure the chlorophyll content of the leaf, and we can see the greenness of the leaf. On that basis, we can increase or decrease our nitrogen rate. This one is I was working on this. We developed this yield mapping for wild blueberry. Here, through image processing, we can exactly identify what is the expected crop yield, and on this basis we can identify the areas where there will be there needs special attention, or the yield is up to the mark. So on this basis we have the software, and we have the image sensor on the top, we have the GPS receiver. So on this basis we can take a better decision of finding the areas giving less crop yield. Here you can see that the area 1 is giving less crop yield and area 2 is giving better crop yield. Similarly, we can map also the apple yield, actual yield, how much is actual yield, and what is our prediction based on the image processing. We have applied precision agriculture for fertilizer, seed, and variety, that whether the seed rate, what will be the seed rate for the applications. We have delineated the uniform areas where we should have fertilizer rate 1, and which areas should have fertilizer rate 2, depending on the soil information, depending on the climate, and depending on the crop requirements. We can take the decision of which fertilizer to apply, and how precisely we should apply those inputs. In the precision spraying technology, as I discussed earlier, the areas we have crop, we should spray less. The areas infected with pests, then we should use more spray. We have variable rates depending on the inputs. We have 4 rates here, 5 rates. And using the precision agriculture in wheat, we can save nearly 40% of nitrogen, because if you apply more nitrogen, sometimes the yield may increase, but very little. It will the yield will maximum yield. After getting maximum yield, if you apply more fertilizer, sometimes we just waste the fertilizer, but there will be no change in the crop yield. So that we have to we can save already 40% of fertilizer cost, so that will give more profit to the farmers. Sometimes we can increase the yield also, and here also we can use we reduce the nitrogen use, and without changing the crop yield. So implications of precision agriculture, it will increase the efficiency, and we can have this maximize our yield, and we can have some yearly predictions, early yield prediction, like we are saying using remote sensing. Sometimes we expect how much grain production will be there. So on that basis, we can design how much storage or export or import. That decision we can do by early prediction of yield. There is issues like we have some additional cost, and the field should be it should be a group interest that they do the precision agriculture, not like one field is doing and the neighbor field is not doing. And so those things we have to take care to have better precision agriculture adoption. And there is some modern technology like we have drone or this unmanned helicopters, which can use for instead of using satellite, we can use drone for image processing, image acquisition, for identification of crop stress, and we can observe the livestock whether they are moving rightly or they are how they are behaving. And the issues sometimes we have for drone issues, that time and what is the weather condition. Sometimes it's difficult to operate, and issue of operating in airspace, sometimes some areas they don't allow to use that. And we have this LIDAR technology, which is can be used is around 0.1 meter contours. So every 0.1 meter, if there is some change in crop pattern, we can use the system to identify the crop, how the crop is growing, whether it is affected by some pest or infest. So using LIDAR technology, though it will be more expensive compared to other systems. We have telematics. It is the next stage, like automated agriculture I was talking about. So in the same place, we can get the information and analyze the information. Again, we supply the information to the users, to the end users, to the farm tractors, to the farmers, to the transport person. If we are harvesting, then the transport person will come to collect the crop. Then there is robotics is already in use, as I was talking about. We have autonomous tractors are there, and we are using mechanical weeders, and we have even we can use small robots for transplanting, for crop spraying. You can design those. Crop spraying is already in use, like in Australia. Before Pristine start, they are spraying using aerial vehicles, but now using small drones, we can use the spraying work, because in drone we can maintain height and there will be less aerial disturbances, and we can do the uniform spraying of your pesticides. There is weeding robots. We have automated weeding robots. I was working on this one, Hortibot robot. Here we are talking about active shape matching. Like we can identify the leaf shape of the crop, and on that basis you can separate them, the leaf of the crop leaf from the weed leaves. So if you identify the crop leaf, then you will not spray on the crop leaf, you only spray on the weed leaves. Particularly for the row crops, we can easily develop a system where we only spray on the weed leaves, or use some mechanical system to uproot the weeds and leave the plants without disturbing the plants. So on that basis, we can use this automated weeding system. And there is in Australia, they are developing different types of robots, and in all countries they are working on this about to bring the robots to the agriculture. And we should think of that. We in India also, we have like picking tomato. We are working on that, how to pick tomato using robots. And this Gen irrigation, they are developing a system for smart irrigation system, where they can measure the moisture content in the soil, and on that basis it will automatically they will start the irrigation system, particularly drip irrigation system, where so the plant will be irrigated based on their requirement, not the flooding system. We go for irrigate the water, and sometimes you don't know how much water it is required. Here in our Bhavan, I am working about keeping record of the field, the experimental plots, that which crops we are growing whether this crops was grown last year or overlapping of that crop. This is called field record keeping, because it is sometimes important, because if some crops are not giving good yield or some crops are repeated, then we should avoid, we should go for mixed crop, or we go for intercropping. So on that basis, if you keep the records digitally, then you can use them in the latter. Like we have last 10 years, we have the record. So on that records, we can take better production decision. Here we have worked in the Hooghly district, that the areas, this is about getting the suitable areas, that for rice crop we find that they are growing the whole area, they are growing rice crop as a Kharif season crop, but we find around 75% area is giving good rice yield, but the 25% area which is not giving rice yield, those areas can be alerted for jute crops. So jute crop as an alternate crop. So that 25% area can be it can be used for growing jute crop. And similarly, for the rabi crop, potato, around 92% area is suitable potato, because it is a potato growing area, and still 8% area which is not suitable potato was found suitable for lentil crop. This one is, this much area it can be used for jute crop, and this much area can be we can give it for lentil crop. That means, so this 25% area which is not giving profit to the farmers by growing rice, they can get better profit if they grow jute crop. So through precision agriculture, these things we can do to get best suitable area for a particular crop. And this we have the precision agriculture in livestock. There is, we have robot milking in Denmark and other countries. They have already started. In India also commercially they have started that robot milking. And particularly we can have in this tagging of animals, because if large number of animals, so their records, what they have done, what their diseases and what their problems. So if you have a chip record them, then we can, from the animals, we can read their history and we can give special treatment to those animals. So that can be done. Another is like poultry monitoring, because if the poultry farmers, they want to use precision agriculture or image processing, so the behavior of the chicks and can be monitored through image processing, and we exactly find out how many are sick or how many need special attention. There is a new area coming of is IoT in agriculture, is part of the precision agriculture. IoT, Internet of Things, where we are talking about adding more information, collecting more information from the field. Like we have moisture sensors, nitrogen sensor, some other sensors installed in the crop field, and those sensors, if they start giving readings, then we can have this we can have many sensors, and those readings need to be analyzed through advanced softwares, and those softwares will exactly give you that which data point has which problem, and on that basis of information we can give special attention to that crop, we can give special attention to that area. And this is increasing means we expect more sensors to give our readings. Instead of farmers going to the field, we can have sensors mounted in the field, and from these sensor readings we can monitor the crops, we can monitor their growth, and even we can monitor whether they are affected by some of the crops or some of the systems. So why precision agriculture? It is like we have to maximize the profits, instead of we should reduce overlapping, optimize the inputs, and depending on the target, we either increase the yield or optimize the yield and reduce the stress. We should the crop should be less stressed, And sometimes we should maintain the quality of the crop by monitoring the crop inputs. Then we should protect our environment by reducing the fertilizer, pesticide application. And also we have to target to feed all the people of the world. And particularly for India, we should reduce the crop losses and ensure food security. We should give new employment generation, like we have this opportunity to give this, because if some educated persons in India, they don't want to go for agriculture, but looking at the sensors, looking at the mechanization systems, looking at the automation, so they will not hesitate. Somebody who is driving car, we also will show interest in driving a tractor because of control and comfort, and the systems giving better opportunity to them. And sometimes we have this custom hiring system. So if some persons like some entrepreneurs, they come up with some systems where they will provide the machineries to the farmers, that can be can generate new employment. And also, we, as I told you, we should make agriculture a respective profession. If you talk about the in say manual transplanting, if you use the mechanical transplanters, so more persons will feel open to take agriculture as a profession. And with this, the precision agriculture can help a lot in this direction. And this is the population trend. And precision agriculture can be a grid based, because some people, they question about precision agriculture in India because we have small farms, but that small farms still you can see that they have similar type of crops growing, though the plots are small, but similar crops growing in a area, and their time of sowing and their type of variety is also similar. So there we can go for precision agriculture to see whether those areas are exactly suitable for those crops or not. Then we have the custom hiring centers for machineries, for precision agriculture equipments, which will enables the farmer, the small farmers, to hire the machineries, and they can use those in their field. Like developed countries, instead of on the go or real time, we can go near real-time solutions. Like we take the images, they analyze the system and provide those information to the farmers. And we can have this map-based recommendation rate. So farmers can know from the maps that which areas they need special attention. And we have already started this greenhouse robot harvesting, because greenhouse, the crops are grown in rows. So robot harvesting is now getting popular in greenhouses. And we can have like crop clinics. It is already there. We have, and we updated weather information. And also we are looking for the existing soil health card based recommendations. That with soil health card, we know the different soil parameters for a particular field. On that basis, the experts can give solutions, because the farmers, they are happy getting soil health card, but they still don't use the next step, that how they will get benefit from the soil health card. So those things can be included. And we have this mobile and smartphone solutions, which we can give through precision agriculture experts and agriculture experts. They can give solutions through smartphones. So the target is to bring the skilled person to the agriculture to make it more profitable. So this my idea is this is the right place and right time to give good emphasis to precision agriculture or modern agriculture. And thank you for your.
Thank you so much, Kishore. Dr. Swain, that was brilliant, because this is not something that we usually associate agriculture. This is like, agriculture gone sci-fi, science fiction, and agriculture. So there are a lot of questions, but taking the prerogative of the discussion, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson is one of the very famous motor journalist for the BBC. They are very famous for their Top Gear series. He's come up with this very interesting. Amazon, it's on Amazon Prime. He's gone farmer. He's become a farmer. So he's got rid of all his high-end gadgets and he's become a farmer. It's called Jeremy Clarkson's Farm. It's in the middle of England, but he's doing exactly what you have shown us, that he's utilizing the new age technology to introduce farming. And the reason why I'm so very interested in your presentation is because what you said right at the end, that you don't need to be a farmer in order to become a farmer today or be engaged in farming. So that is something that is actually happening in the West as we speak. He did it last year and the year before, 2019 and 2020. It was released this year. It's called Clarkson's Farm. You can actually watch it and you'll find that the ability of the technology to sort of take over traditional farming is both good and bad. But there is a possibility that people who dream to be farmers, because as you are very well aware of, that there is this huge, emotional desire of people who have been very successful, they have made their money somewhere else. They all want to now become farmers and they are buying. Forget about the West. They're actually doing it in India. They're buying farming areas in and around for actual villages and investing and settling down and trying to become farmers. So this could be the easy way. This could be a more acceptable way. But then again, this is something new. Thank you for introducing it to us. And this is very interesting because not only is Visva-Bharati at the cutting edge of the meeting of the academic work and the practical. This is something that Rabindranath started. Rabindranath took it to another level way back. But it's also the time that 75 years of Indian independence, that we are now moving towards the new generation, tagging along with new technology and addressing the new generation actually with the idea of, as you say, Internet of Things idea. So thank you for bringing this to our notice. Now, there are a few questions. Question number one from Joydeep Mondol. Dear Kishore, how precision farming technology are applied in protected cultivation? He's got a few more questions. So would you like to take them together, Kishore, or would you like to answer them
No,
one by one?
this one I can take the answer. I think
Okay.
protected cultivation is there is huge scope for precision agriculture because we have the crops, as I mentioned about harvesting, and as the crops are in the rows and we have space for moving machineries, then we can go for some image processing and some mechanized this variable rate technology for applying the rates, that whether they are needing irrigation. I think protected cultures, they already doing many of this, but some of the pesticides and harvesting, those components we should take up precision agriculture.
Thank you, Kishore. There is also another question from Joydeep, who says, what would be the strategy to adopt precision farming technology in fragmented and small lands of economically poor Eastern India? This is a question that generates naturally out of your
Yes,
presentation. That
yes.
this is something that you have to address.
Yes, actually, I just in the last slide I talk about that because in Eastern India part we have farmers and nearby farmers, they are growing similar type of crops and nearly similar type of growing pattern and similar type of varieties also there. So if they work together, they can do this. Other thing is like with the image processing of 10-meter resolutions. So if you get those images analyzed and they give them to the farmers, instead of using some equipments to apply, they use the same technique that they are using. If they are applying fertilizer manually, so they knows the areas, which areas that need more fertilizer, so they go for more fertilizer in particularly those areas, because they are farm map, they can exactly identify that these areas we need special attention. So those areas, particular pesticide spraying. So they, instead of going all like in the, if you Jadida also will agree, like in the agriculture, if you say you apply 1 liter of fertilizer per hectare, you said 1 liter of pesticide per hectare, they say only 1 liter, they go for 3 liter. So like that, so it is affecting the crop. But if you say these areas is has more pest, so only those areas they will go for higher rate of pesticides, and other areas they can go for low rate of pesticides like that. And the other one is about I was talking about this plot based. Like if you have an individual plot, so generally if the farmers has a small plot, actually they are more aware of their plots because they have very small plot and they have to get the output from there, the maximum output. So they are very concerned, but they don't know exactly how to do. That small plots also variation is there, and on that basis they can on that basis, if they go for the soil analysis, they can see that what is the exactly fertilizer is there. Because if you see the one of the slides, like we find 25% area which is grown by used for rice crop, that can easily be used for jute crop. So 25% farmers are in the loss. So those areas we have to look into, and we give them information that your areas, you instead of growing rice, you grow some other crops so that your profit can increase. So those informations we can supply to them, and we can say like help them on that way, I think.
Thank you, Kishore. There are two more questions from Joydeep. You can take them together. What are the basic minimum requirement to adopt such technology? And I'm sure he means it in our West Bengal, in parts of India that we are more familiar with. And the other question is very interesting because this is a question that will decide the future of technology meeting farming. Does smart agriculture require smart farmers?
Okay, the first one is let's take the second one. It was about smart thing. Actually, smart agriculture don't require smart farmers. It require make the farmer smart. Okay, so they will be smart enough after that. Because if you find it's as simple as that. If you find getting profit, then they will show their interest. Like if you go to a shop and you get good quality, so next time they will not invite you, you will reach there. It is like that. So similarly, and this case, we I don't expect you to go for, because if you see the status, the second slide I show you the status, we are not targeting automated agriculture. We are targeting precision agriculture. We are targeting digital agriculture. From mechanization level, traditional to mechanization, we are reached there. And now next stage is to mechanization to precision. That means we look for problems in our field. If you see the problems, then we should make the solution for that problem. And once they start getting the solutions, because I can share my experience that we recommend some farmers, we recommend they have the pH value, the variation in pH. So we recommend something like this, that, and they got benefited because they are interested. And if you our in agriculture also, I think they know that we talk about seed treatment. So the farmers, they started listening that we should go for seed treatment. So things need some time, but they can start with some of the things. And minimum requirements is already done. That if you see the soil health card is the minimum requirement, you can say that, though there is no minimum requirement. If you have soil health card, then we have the soil information and other environment information we can get, which is generally uniform for small areas. So on basis of soil health card, we can start that we recommend them that you go for this or go for that. On that basis, they can get some benefits of that.
Thank you, Dr. Swain. There's another question from Udit. What is the main drawback of adoption of precision agriculture in India? So this is something part of it which you have already answered, but you can now explain that in a.
Okay. Drawback is major drawbacks is, okay, we can ask about drawbacks, but drawback is sometimes what happen, we have the not many areas for not exactly drawbacks, exactly it is like we handicap, like we have rice crop, we are growing not in the rows, or we have mechanization facilities is less there. So on that basis, we need some more time to convince, because rice crop they are growing normally, they are growing and they are going transplanting rice, we got benefited. But still if you see there is not many areas is transplanted, because they are going for the traditional rice crop. They start with SRI system, and not all are started with SRI. There is part of people they are started with SRI system. So similarly, part by part we have to adopt the technology, and we reach to the farmers. And it is just, it will take how much time it is taking, because if you see mechanized in the western part, they already mechanized, means that all tractor operations are already done for a long time. And eastern part they start is couple of years before you see the bullocks are there around. But now bullocks are gone, we can see number of combine harvesters are there. So it is the process, and how much time take to adopt, that is the matter. So we should, because as we are in a system, it takes time, but we should be positive and think of that we start with the soil health card, as I mentioned before, and we ask them, you see the things, how it is benefited. And the satellite informations, I think, which we are not taking benefits, because remote sensing, we saw they're talking about Mars and Moon, but remote sensing we are not using in agriculture, because ISRO and all these things in India is fully developed, and I can say it is as far, maybe sometimes more than the developed countries, the remote sensing facilities in India. But we are not using agriculture, so slowly we are starting to using it like that.
Thank you, Kishore. There are, I guess, no more questions. So, if I may be allowed to ask one myself. Now, this is something I'm asking you from literature point of view, because I'm interested in science fiction, and one of the early series of science fiction of the 1950s and 60s, specifically the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov, which refers to farming in outer communities in alien planets. They introduced this very act of overseas outlandish farming, they call it. So they're controlling whatever you said, using very much the robots that you have actually showed us, the robots that they use to farm, Mars, so to speak. That is question number one. So, is this one of the fantasies of human beings to sort of, cultivate the land from far off using remote technologies? That's question number one. Question number two is, will this, what is the function of this in the reference to making the farmers, and our nation is a country full of farmers, will they not become redundant? What happens to traditional farming? What happens to farmers? Will they be able to adopt the precision farming, or will they not be able to enter into precision farming, and they will be left aside, and other people, somewhat technologically more easy, technologically more adaptable, they will come in, and like Jeremy Clarkson, the reference that I made, person who's very, very, very rich, very powerful, they will be able to do farming because they don't need to be traditional farmers. The traditional, what shall I say, knowledge is no longer necessary to become a farmer. This is something that the traditional knowledge will be invested in machines. So what is happening to the future of the farmer in developing countries like India with the rise of and utilization of precision farming?
No, it is like, it is not separate agriculture. It is all through that we are going towards the data, that how much knowledge we have in traditional decision making is also a precision agriculture. They can say that the cloudy today, tonight is cloudy, this, that. So we are expecting rain or this, that. They can predict monsoon like that. So it is already there. If you say with some terms, they are confused. But if you say from soil health card, what is there, nitrogen is not there, you apply nitrogen. So it is just like, if you terminologies may confuse to us, but data collection is already collected by farmers. They change their varieties. They go for, like, let's say small decision. They go for transplanting some fields. They go for growing the traditional agriculture. So it is a process in making. It is just as I told you, it is a process in making. But if you impose some of things, rather imposing, if you facilitate, like let's say renewable energy, we are solar panels, we are looking around. So if you facilitate some of technology by the government and some other organization, NGOs, then they will show interest. Because if for my personal point of view, I was talking about combine harvester and transplanter since I joined here. And that time I don't see in Birbhum any transplanter or combine harvester, like since 2012. But now I can see many combine harvesters on the road. So it is not my effort, but it is the combine effort, and it is a part of the system. Takes, they think in a large scale. But robots is that it excites people, but it is sometimes they don't accept it as it is. That is the problem. But it will come because because now is you are rich in terms of money or you are rich in terms of data. Understand? So if you have more information or something, people will come to you. It is like that. So if you have more information on your field, crop, this, that, so people will reach to you and they will say how we use this or how we will use that. It's like that. So now there's two people are rich, who has information and who has money. So that's why I think we have good prospect. IoT is coming up. So in that case, we should develop something that small field is that we talk a lot already. We should not think of that. But after that, what next? Next is we collect the data from the field, and on your field, what decisions you want to support. So that is the one, because some in small field and they have two people, you ask you buy a tractor, they will not go, they will go for their field by themselves. But if they get some small hired vehicle, hired tractor or hired combine harvester, and you see combine harvester is behind their field, at the neighbor's field they are cutting with combine harvester, so you as a professional you don't have to tell, they will use the combine harvester. So it is the things you bring them to their doorstep. So later they will go with that.
Thank you, Kishore. So, if there are no more questions,
Basu, just one point. Kishore, probably,
Yes.
Basu, you see, you can see the precision farming as one of the options, at least at this point in Indian conditions. There are traditional farming, there are other methods. So precision farming, now it is coming. And it is actually taking up in the western part of the India very faster rate, even in the southern part. But in the eastern part, probably it is percolating very slower. Okay, so till it is an option. But in developing countries, definitely they have taken this in the very high. So means your mechanizations, robotics, and all these things are coming in a big way. The role of the farmers, it is changing. More actually the technical persons are coming. It is more of just like your Kishore is saying, it is more your data approach systems. Everything actually you can control. These are the things. So to me, in Indian condition, it is still a option, as a option. So you go for the organic farming or traditional farming, whatever may be. Okay, so it is a very diverse country, and so it is a very good point that we are getting one more options, higher options to adapt such things. Okay, so thank you very much.
Okay.
thank you. So, is there any more question? If there's any more question, you can unmute and ask the question. Maybe we'll have time for one more because it started to rain outside and we don't want to, get cut off from electricity halfway through. Any more questions? Please unmute yourself and ask Dr. Swain the question directly. Would Vipasadi would you like to come in?
Thank you, Shudev. Very informative. I have a question, but my observation is that it was very good. I mean, very, very informative. Thank you, Dr. Swain. It's very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vipasadi. So it's time for me to say the traditional words of thanks. Right at the top would be our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vidut Chakraborty, who had first, formulated this idea, even though he was also part of the Visva-Bharati lecture series. Incidentally, there is one more Visva-Bharati lecture series tomorrow at 3 o'clock where Dr. Diptendra Sarkar will be talking about preparedness for combating the third wave of COVID pandemic at 3 p.m. So please be there tomorrow. The data is already there on the Visva-Bharati website. The Zoom link is already there. All you got to do is go there and click on it. So we are thankful to Professor Chakraborty for inspiring this series, and we are on to our 8th lecture as such. We also have one lecture slated for September. We do one every month. So it's the 8th of August. Today is the 17th of August. So we have had 8 lectures for 8 months, so that basically comes to 1 lecture per month. Our next word of thanks goes to Kishore Chandra Swain, our speaker, who gave us this brilliant description, ideas of precision farming. And for people who are not really associated with this has come as an eye-opener. Thank you, Kishore, for being there. Our word of thanks go out to university authorities and their technical support, our in-house tech support, tech guru, Dr. Kaushik Ghosh, our in-house artist and designer, Dr. Arpon Mukhopadhyay for designing the flyer, which has been doing since the first lecture. Our thanks goes to Dr. Orpita Dottodas for introducing Dr. Swain, and last but not the least to our mentor, Dr. Professor Vipasha Raha, for being with us. So that brings us to the end of yet another very fruitful afternoon, evening. It's raining outside, of the Visva-Bharati Young Lectures, Young Scholars Lecture Series. We'll be again back in September. We'll be advertising and putting forward the information through the usual channels that Visva-Bharati is extremely equipped to deal with. And please be there for tomorrow's Visva-Bharati lecture series at 3 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shudev.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you. So shall we bring this to an end?
Yes,
Kaushik?
I think close this session.
Okay, just.